On the news, Senate, House of Representatives condemn Benue Plateau State's massacre, constitute ad hoc committee for investigation. News stresses on adoption of technology as crucial for an inclusive, acceptable election results. Plus, 10th House of Representatives moves to consider freedom of information compliance as condition for budgetary considerations for MDAs. Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Stella Inamiti. We begin the news as the Senate condemned the recent massacre of innocent lives in Yelwata community of Benue State. The lawmakers also expressed deep sadness on the killing of travelers on their way to a wedding in Mangun, Plateau State. Senate, however, commended the prompt response of the president to the Benue incident, in particular the establishment of ranches to bring to an end the farmers-herders clashes. It also called for compensation to families of victims of the Mango killing as a minute silence was observed in honor of victims of both unfortunate events. Meanwhile, Senate has passed the 2025 Rivers State budget as recommended by the Senate Ad Hoc Committee oversighting emergency rule in the state. Also, the House of Representatives has constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate persistent bandit attacks on communities in Benue State with a view to proffering lasting solutions. This decision followed a motion of urgent public importance expressing concerns about the recent armed attacks on Yelwata community, which led to loss of lives and livelihoods. Lawmakers urged the Nigerian army to establish a forward operating base in Yelwata, a border community, to boost security presence and help prevent future attacks in the area and across Benue State.
The House urges the federal government and security agencies to intensify efforts to restore peace and security in Guma local government area and to protect vulnerable communities from further attacks.
Mr. Speaker, this issue has also taken international dimension. As you know, it was mentioned by the Pope himself when these killings took place in Yelwata, where about 200 people have been killed. My constituency of Kwando Shongo has also experienced these killings unending for the past 15 years now, Mr. Speaker. So I want to suggest that an ad hoc committee be set up to look at the insecurity in Benue State and return back to the House with recommendations on how the House can propose to end this insecurity in Benue State and, of course, across the larger north-central region of Nigeria.
In the meantime, the Red Chamber has amended the 2024 Appropriation Act by extending the implementation of the capital component of the budget to 31st December 2025. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on this and other features at plenary.
The extension of the implementation to December 2025, according to the Appropriation Committee, is to enable ministries, departments and agencies of government to effectively utilize funds for key development projects.
And this is the second time we are extending this budget, and it is our hope that in the next 6 months, all procurement process will be done.
And in consonance with the Renewed Hope agenda to ensure that no project is abandoned in the course of implementation of the budget.
The payment practice must be unbundled.
This is good because it deals with our national development. It touches the roots of the development of our country. We're talking about capital budget.
Senate also passed the Police Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill, which the chairman of the committee says would help improve operations of the Nigeria Police Force.
They provide operational vehicles, training, equipment, and many other, even rehabilitation of the institutions. The Police Service Commission are preparing to employ 30,000 policemen into the service. And as President promised, it will go on every year.
Senate passed a resolution to investigate the recent flood in Mukwa, Niger State, to provide sustainable solutions, as lawmakers observed a minute's silence in honor of victims.
On the whole,
not less than 9,560 people were affected by the flood.
This is just the case of Bokwa. By the time we reach the peak of the rainy season, monumental things will happen. Urge the federal government to dredge and deseal all the riverine area banks within River Niger and River Benue.
Meanwhile, Senate has approved the 1.1 trillion naira 2025 budget of the Nigeria Customs Service with a call for improved performance.
You must get us nothing less than 10 trillion by the end of this financial year. Customs is one of the pivotal agencies that is responsible for driving of revenue generation in this country. You need to brace up in terms of your surveillance. And then with respect to illicit drugs too, you also need to ensure that as much as possible you should be on top of your game.
The current projected revenue of the service for 2025 is 6.5 trillion naira. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikben had a chat with a member of the House Committee on Customs, Representative Awaulu Gwalabi, to shed more light on the 1% Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme known as CISS levy, as well as the directive of the House to stop its collection.
This CISS account. Now, this is money, 1% that has been charged on every import into the country. And that money is being administered probably by the Minister of Finance or the Central Bank. And what it says, that money, you will give 60% of the entire money that has been accrued to the Nigerian customs for them to undertake some of their capital projects and even some of their overheads and remodernize their system. But one thing is that CISS money is an illegal money because it's not there in the Act, it's not there in the LPF. The LFN of Nigeria does not specify that collections of that 1%. And that yet, that 1% is still being collected. Now, we have been asking since for a very long time, since as far back as 2008, we've been asking who is administering that money? Because that money is an illegal collection. It is illegal. And it is illegal in the sense that it is not there in the Act, it's not there in the LFN. So why are they charging that money? Why? And you see that money, the amount is huge. And that money does not even enter the budgets of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because it doesn't go through the revenue board. So that thing has to be corrected. For years, the National Assembly has been fighting to get these things corrected. It's either yes, you insert it in the Act, re-amend the Act, amend the LFN, and allow it to become a legal thing. Then nobody will talk. But as it is now, it is an illegal. And it has to be corrected because large sum of money is there. Who utilizes the money? Who administers the money? Who gives approval on the money? We want to know.
As Nigeria navigates to another cycle of elections in 2027, the use of technology is crucial to have an inclusive and widely acceptable outcome of the polls. This was the submission of stakeholders at the Policy Dialogue on Election and Technology, Opportunities and Challenges, marking this year's June 12 Democracy Day celebration. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports that it was organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILS, in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development in Abuja.
June 12 marks a significant moment in Nigeria's democratic history that cannot be overlooked. Many elections have been conducted in Nigeria, but more needs to be done to have acceptable results driven by the credibility of beavers and other electronic devices. This dialogue seeks to foster a robust intellectual exchange of ideas among key players and experts to critically examine the effectiveness of election technologies in deepening Nigeria's democracy.
The beavers was conceptualized as a solution to certain things that the public may not readily be aware of. And that was that the bulk of votes that were cast in that election were not processed through the smart card reader.
While technology holds immense potential to revolutionize our electoral processes, more is to be done to ensure effective, inclusive, and transparent technology-driven elections in Nigeria.
Moving forward, we want to ensure that people in your correctional centers are able to vote.
Acceptability is actually, what technology will give us. And for every election, credibility is important.
We still need to touch on those challenges that we need to fine-tune in the technology we have deployed.
It is expected at the end of the dialogue, recommendations to be brought forward towards having an election that is free, fair, and credible. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Joining me to talk more on the National Policy Dialogue on Election and Technology, Opportunities and Challenges is the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, Honorable Bayo Balogun. You're welcome to Parliamentary News on NTA.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Chairman, let me take it from here. We are navigating towards another election cycle, and this dialogue focused on the adoption of more technology. Are we saying that we did not get it right in the previous elections?
Well, I think the issue should be more about understanding the technology. It's not about using more technology. About one of the countries that has been so much involved in technology when it comes to election matters worldwide. The beavers has been a game changer in terms of technology usage in Nigeria. What has been our major problem is the major problem has been multiple voting. And how do you solve it? Because technology must be addressing a problem. The problem has been multiple voting. Prior to the use of beavers, we have a situation where the remote areas usually bring up the highest votes, not the most populated areas. You see the riverine areas bringing high number of votes. But when beavers came in, beavers is an accreditation system, a biometric accreditation system to verify each individual with the biometrics, so which cannot be duplicated. So that's why during the last election, there were a lot of reduction in the total number of votes. Although some people call it voter apathy, it's not just about voter apathy. It's because most of the fraudulent accreditations has been removed. And it's only very few countries in the world that uses the beavers or any form of electronic accreditation system. They mostly rely on the manual mode of accreditation. I was in Liberia. They were still using manual accreditation. In South Africa, the machine broke down before 10 o'clock. They relied back on the manual accreditation. If that had happened in Nigeria, there would be world war. So most of the problem is do we even understand what we have? Many people are talking about the RF. Did they use RF? Ask majority of people talking about the RF. Did they even know the address, that the portal address, to even check what is even on the RF? Many people have not even opened the RF to even know if his own word was uploaded or not, but we still complain that we needed more technology. So I believe our issue is about understanding the technology and what do we even need from this technology. Have we even achieved what we need or not before we start looking for additional technology?
As a representative, is there any current legislation to address the issue of technology to suit the modern way of voting?
You see, you cannot legislate everything. First, you must understand what you want. How do I do what I want? It is only when you want to compel such process that you now use legislation. For example, why is it even difficult to use legislation in some areas? If I say, if I say it is mandated for beavers to be used in all elections, And unfortunately, some areas the beaver failed. Are you saying we are going to cancel the election? If you're saying it's by law, you mandate, because you must leave, there must be room for failure of technology sometimes. So what will happen if such situation occurs? There is force majeure, natural disaster happens, you must leave room. So if you are going to make it law, then you must provide for every eventuality in case. That means the law must put into consideration if this should happen or that should happen or that should, or else we will cause legal crisis. So by the time you are making law, you must understand the system first. What could be the failure? What could be maybe systemic failures? And all this must also be recognized in the law you are making. So we are looking at all the areas that required law. During the last amendment, that was when amendment was made that was able to make provision for the use of beavers. We amended the law to say that INEC will use the beavers, the card reader or any other electronic device that could be deployed by INEC, because you make it very open. That's why INEC could bring in beavers without having to recourse back to the National Assembly to now amend, because we have said card reader alone. That means for every other technology you bring, you must come back to the National Assembly. So when you are making law, your law must consider every eventuality, or else you have like 5,000 pages of constitution. So you must look at a way that you craft your law to be able to be dynamic and easy for use.
Now, let me ask, are there mechanisms put in place by the National Assembly to mitigate challenges of beavers? IREFs as polls approach?
We are about concluding the amendment of the Electoral Act, and we've had inputs from all stakeholders, and which we are actually recognize all their concerns, and it is only when we recognize all these concerns that we're able to put together what is required. And I believe by the time we come out with the final amendments, I think most of the hiccups that we're having in our electoral process will be pretty resolved, and I think we'll be able to pass to Nigerians, just like the Speaker of the House of Reps, Right Honorable Junior Abbas, have said that we should give Nigerians the electoral act that will guarantee free, fair, and inclusive electoral process in the country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bayo Balogun, for your insight.
Thank you so much for having me.
We now pause for some messages. Parliamentary news continues shortly after this break. Do stay with us.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your short channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the marketing department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or call these numbers 080-383-40464 or 080-770-78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is NTA Parliamentary News, reaching you from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. You can follow the platforms on the screen for more updates. Moving on, the Senate Committee on Marine Transport has applauded the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, for its strides in operational accountability and efficiency, calling for innovative development to position the NPA as a leading maritime hub. This was during the 2025 internally generated revenue budget proposals and review of the 2024 Appropriation Acts of Nigerian Ports Authority. National Assembly correspondent Amina Seidu reports.
The chairman says the review of the 2024 Appropriation Act focuses on budget utilization, project implementation and revenue performance.
This is an opportunity to assess whether appropriated funds were effectively deployed and whether projects are being executed in line with national development goals.
Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Abubakar Dansuho, assured the committee of high-level performance and reconstruction of some ports in the country.
So our expenditure proposal for 2024 will emphasize on key areas such as, 2025, sir, expenditure. So we are going to try and consolidate more on our toll services, port automation, single window, rejuvenation of Calabar, Warri, Burutu ports, and their channels, as well as compliance with international conventions. Our expenditure will address challenges such as aging infrastructure, limited deep sea port capacity, and channel depths.
Members of the committee also highlighted activities of the Nigerian Ports Authority with a call to enhance revenue generation, reduce leakages, and improve security.
And I'm impressed with this report because it is straightforward. The summary captures everything, and there's very little that you query on this report.
This looks very well prepared, well packaged presentation from the performance of 2024 to the estimates and then to the assumptions and revenues of 2025.
The Nigerian Ports Authority, as one of the top revenue-generating agencies of the federal government, plays a major role in facilitating international trade, supporting port infrastructure development, and improving Nigeria's competitiveness in the maritime hub. From the National Assembly, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
It is on record that out of more than 1,300 federal establishments, only 13 made budgetary provisions for freedom of information-related activities in 2025. In view of this, the 10th House of Representatives says it may consider freedom of information compliance as a condition for budgetary considerations for MDAs that are reluctant to the FOI Act 2011. This was brought to the fore during a strategic national workshop convened by the House Committee on Freedom of Information. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide has details.
Access to public records and information plays a critical role in achieving sustainable development goals, open governance, accountability, and equitable development. Hence, the advocacy for digital mainstreaming of the FOI compliance frameworks in all MDAs to reduce bureaucratic delay.
Today, we face challenges that threaten this vital right. Misinformation, censorship, and bureaucratic obstacle can hinder our pursuit of transparency.
Speaker Abbas Tajuddin represented says an institution that habitually fails to honor its obligation under the FOI Act should face consequences in the form of budgetary consideration.
A 2023 audit conducted across 245 federal public institutions disclosed that only three MDAs had fully complied with proactive information disclosure as mandated by the FOI Act. What it means is that collectively, these agencies allocated just 230 million, representing less than 0.005% of the 49.74 trillion of the national budget.
The keynote address by the Minister of Justice centered on navigating transparency as a pillar of democracy in the renewed hope agenda.
As President Tinubu emphasized during the 2024 Democracy Day lecture, he says we must recommit to the values of inclusivity, accountability, and transparency to ensure our democracy flourishes for generations.
The agenda of the zonal workshop of the House Committee in 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation is focusing on strengthening legal framework, promoting awareness, enhancing collaboration, as well as embracing technology. Joshua Okonchide, NT News.
In another development, the Bono State House of Assembly is back to legislative business following its resumption from recess. Umar Jimba Rima reports that the House received 2 developmental bills from the Bono State government aimed at mitigating climate change and improving the living conditions of the people.
Among the bills submitted is the Environmental Sanitation Amendment, which seeks to strengthen existing legal framework guiding public hygiene and waste management, emphasizing shared responsibility between government and the people in ensuring a cleaner, safer and more hygienic environment. The second bill focuses on enhancing regulations regarding the indiscriminate felling of trees in Bono State, crucial in mitigating climate change, preventing desertification, and maintaining ecological balance.
In our environmental already prone to disaster, encouragement, and extreme weather, this bill will go a long way in ensuring our natural resources and promoting environmental resilience.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Works and Housing has submitted its report before the Honorable Speaker, detailing the assessment and oversight of projects executed by the Ministry of Works and Housing.
The Bono State government has injected to the Ministry of Works for the construction of various projects that are very useful for the benefit of the people of Bono State.
In Maiduguri, Umar Jimbarima, NTA News.
And this is where we draw the curtain on Wednesday's parliamentary news for this evening. For more updates, kindly follow NTA Parliament on the platforms showing on your screen. Thanks for staying with us. Again, I am Stella in Amity. Bye for now.